Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've been wanting to make a video about this for some time. I just don't really know how to go about it, but I want to talk about this Munchausen Syndrome by proxy. That was a manufactured defense strategy, okay? That's what that was, all right? And, you know, hey, a defense attorney is supposed to do whatever it is they can to get their client the best outcome, all right? Without straight up lying, like telling a fact, a lie about a fact. All right. I mean, besides that, you know, be as crafty and creative as you can, you know. But this is what they did here, and it was a paralegal that came up with it. All right, and here's what they did, you guys. Okay, it's a mind fuck. All right, and I'm gonna try to analogize this the best way I can. This is why I haven't made it in a while. I was trying to think of an analogy to try to explain what I'm trying to get across here. Okay? First of all, the Munchausen Syndrome by proxy is never, ever, ever, ever about financial gain or gaining things. It's always about attention for the mother. Always. And for some reason, I don't know what this is about, there are no case studies of men doing it that I know of. Okay, I don't know of any case studies where a man has done it, a father. Now, I understand that mothers are more so the primary caregiver, you know, percentage-wise or whatever. But you guys, there's a lot of single dads now, and there's a lot of situations where the wife has a better career and the husband stays at home. So it's weird to me that it's only in women. But I'm just pointing that out. I don't know why. What I'm trying to tell you is it's about attention. It's not about gaining things, guys. And listen, with Dee Dee and Gypsy, okay, the timeline tells you the truth. Dee Dee wasn't using those things and making things up and doing medical things for her that she didn't need, because they discovered the chromosome. Listen, you have to understand the timeline. It tells it all. They discovered that microdeletion in 2011. All right. Now, if in 2011 or 2012, then at that point, Dee Dee would have started doing all these different tests that when you Google that microdeletion, you see right down in a row, it can affect this body, this body system, and it can do this and it can do that and the other. And then you see testing and stuff that and her making complaints in medical histories that go right along with it. Okay, then that would make it look like, yeah, she is doing that. But you guys, it's the opposite. And the opposite actually exonerates her, you guys, because if you look at the testing that she had done and the things that she was complaining of and the things that we know she has, they all go to that microdeletion. And when you Google it and when you look at it, and if you start to read on it, it's the things down right in a row, all the things that Dee Dee's running around looking for doctors, trying to test for, trying to figure out what's wrong with my kid. And then you notice, as soon as they found out the microdeletion was the answer, they stopped all that, because then it's like, okay, well, this answers it all, man. This answers why I'm taking my kid all over here trying to do this. You guys, if it was the opposite way, if Dee Dee would have found out when she was a little tiny girl about the microdeletion, then it started, okay, you got a case to say that this bitch is putting her kid through all this stuff for attention and financial gain or whatever it is. But that wasn't the deal, man. It's the opposite, all right? So, and again, I want to stress, there's no cases of any woman trying to do this for financial gain or for things. It's always for attention. They make their kids sick. They bring their kids on the brink of death. And a lot of times then they set it up to where it looks, and then they miraculously are the ones to save them. Now they're the hero mommy. Not only are they the poor little mommy with the sick kid, now they're the hero. You see, they do things like this. They do disgusting things. They take syringes and will go in the corner of the bathroom around the toilet where there's pubic hair and junk, you know, it looks like before you clean it, and they'll suck it up in a syringe and stuff and inject it in their kids and stuff. Do crazy shit like that to give them infections and sepsis, and then they got to go to the hospital and they're half dead. That is what Munchausen is. What Dee Dee and Gypsy were doing is she had real symptoms and things going on, but they figured out if we exaggerate things, if we make you seem a little younger than you are, that's about the change in the birth dates, guys. And she made her look and talk and act like a little girl in the chair like that. And I'm not saying this was a joint effort, guys. This was a Thelma and Louise situation, guys. They were in on it together. Now, I'm not saying when she was a little girl when it started that, Dee Dee, but then I think she just told, listen, Gypsy, check it out. As long as you just shut your mouth and let me talk around the doctors, you just be quiet, if things look a little more serious or whatever, then we're going to get things. We're going to get money. We're going to get charity. We're going to get trips. We're going to get these things. You're going to get to meet people and all this. Right? You understand? That's what I think happened. She just was exaggerating things and to get these things. It wasn't about attention for her. See? So what they did is, guys, this is what they did to mindfuck everybody. They took what a like a byproduct or a side effect of what happens with someone that has Munchausen, right? Because what it is that disorder, they are craving the attention and the adoration and admiration. That is what they're after, okay? And it just so happens that some of the things that they do is they will use their children and they will make them sick, and they will also exaggerate things and put them through medical things like that. Just for the attention. They get off on being in the hospital, some of them, all that. There are people out there that get off on being in the hospital. That's a thing, too. That's an actual thing. There are people that get off on going to the hospital, and they will make up anything they can to try to get admitted. But anyway, that's something else. All right, so what I'm saying is that's something that occurs to make it happen, but that's not the disorder. And what they're trying to tell you and mindfuck you with is, oh, see, she was doing medical testing and all these things, and they were doing it to get charity and all this. So she was forcing her daughter, and she was making it all up, and she was putting her through these horrible things. That's Munchausen. That's Munchausen by proxy, because it usually involves medically doing things to your kid. And it's that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be other things too that they do to their children or to a parent. It can be anyone they use, right, to get attention to garner attention in some kind of way. All right. So what they did is, because we all know, okay, well, that's something that those Munchausen people do. When you look at it, they do that. So they use that to try to call it to say that, to label Dee as having that. Now, number one, you certainly can't say that about someone post-mortem. That's craziness. Okay, and we're taking an awful lot of, man, they go through all kinds of medical histories and all kinds of shit before they would say that someone had that. And we all know that you can't do that post-mortem. But this is what they were trying to get us to think. And the only other kind of analogy I can come up with here to try to say what I'm trying to say is, like was the eating disorder bulimia? I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but when we think of bulimia, what do we think of? They're people making themselves throw up, right? Okay. Now, but that's not what bulimia is. That is a byproduct or a side effect of it, okay? Because what bulimia actually is, you guys can look this up. I did a whole paper on this, contrasting bulimia and anorexia nervosa. Bulimia is an uncontrollable urge to eat and a whole big amounts. Something in their brain, when we get something in our brain, you guys, our stomach is tiny. When we feel that fullness, that's not necessarily just because the space is full down there, because our stomach is really a tight little thing, like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't take much. There's a mechanism in our brain that cuts off and says, you're full, stop eating. Okay? Theirs doesn't do that. All right? So what happens is, these are little, you see, these are 5'2" little women that are 90 pounds, 100 pounds, and they can eat whole entire sheet cakes, the kind you get from the fucking deli or bakery at the grocery store for birthdays and shit, or whole pizzas, and they can sit and devour it and uncontrollably and keep going. I read, when I did my paper, I read some case studies on, there was this one woman, she was in college, and it was so bad She would have to, she had it so bad, she would have to walk out in the middle of an hour and a half class and gorge on cake and stuff, and then come back in the room and then throw up and do all this stuff, man. It was that bad. Bulimia is not the throwing up. They also use diuretics, or they also, you know, they'll shit it out or piss it out. They do all kinds of things because because that's what they end up realizing they need to do to prevent gaining weight. You guys, there's plenty of women and girls that it's not healthy, you should never do it, that will eat and then throw up afterwards so they don't gain weight. That's not bulimia. Okay? That's you doing, you know, you're doing a bulimic type behavior, but that's not bulimia. Bulimia is where you can't stop eating and you can't handle it, and you have this uncontrollable urge to eat, and you can't get full. So they throw up so they don't gain weight. All right? Because you're eating and then throwing up, that's not, you don't have bulimia automatically, is what I'm trying to say. Plenty of women don't have bulimia that do that. Okay? It's unhealthy, it's terrible, but that doesn't mean you have bulimia. All right? So what I'm trying to say is, to me, it's a similar situation. Like, you know, you see someone, you're like, oh, they got bulimia, right? Just like this one. You see that she's doing these medical type things and they're getting stuff out of it, which I'm telling you, she was just exaggerating things to get the things out of it, meet the people and do all these things, right? And then they mind fucked us and said, oh, see, they're doing that and that. So she's got Munchausen Syndrome by proxy. You guys, that was a manufactured defense strategy and nothing else. It's absolutely despicable. See you guys in the next one.